Welcome to Jules Drums. I'm Jules, and this is episode 2. Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2 of Better Call Jules. You guys do not mess about, do you? Last week we had the double stroke rolls and how to deal with a weaker hand. Hopefully my couple of exercises that I gave you helped you to deal with that one. Now, this week's question is from a chap called Andy. Andy says, "Hi Jules, my 10-year-old daughter plays the drums but does not have lessons. I consider myself as fairly musical, so I've been helping her as much as I can. She is working on a grade 5 piece and has a drum solo. What is the best way to develop solo ideas so they sound musical and creative?" Now that is what I call a meaty question. Goodness gracious me, week 2, and I'm getting creativity questions already. I was hoping for a nice simple one like, how do you play a single stroke roll or something, but no, we're straight in on creativity. All right, let me see what I've got for you. So let's have a look at what we can do to get that solo up and running. So let's start with a rudiment. Now, the one that I picked out, which I just know is going to work, is the single paradiddle. Now, for those of you that don't know what a single paradiddle is, the sticking is coming up on the screen now, and it is quite simply right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Sounds like this. All right, so first of all, how are we going to make this paradiddle interesting? And secondly, into a drum solo itself? The first thing that we're going to do, we're going to take our paradiddle and we're going to play them as semiquavers, okay? So if our pulse is here, the paradiddle is going to be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, so on and so forth. And we're going to bring the paradiddle right down to what I call tap stroke level, which is really just a couple of inches above the drum head, okay? And the reason we're doing this, if you play your paradiddle right up here, you've basically got no headroom left for dynamics. You're already at full blast. I'm not doing this to a metronome today. I'm literally just doing this off the cuff because I wanted to see what comes out. But of course, if you're struggling with speed, try it at something like 55, 60, and then work on your paradiddle speed until you get to a speed where you can play them quite fast. I can see exactly what you're thinking. Where's the drum solo? Well, it's coming. Here it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some accents into that paradiddle to start to give it some nuances and make it sound, well, after a while, not even like a paradiddle anymore, because it will just start to sound like a flourish of notes. So watch this. The first one we're going to do, we're just going to accent the crotchet. We're going to accent the quarter note all the way through the paradiddle, okay? And the reason why this is going to work so nicely is because we're keeping all of the unaccented notes super, super quiet. And therein lies the magic, because if they start getting really loud, you're not going to have the dynamics, and it just won't have the, it just won't feel right. It won't really sound like anything special. It will just sound like a really broad range of notes on the snare drum. So let's try that with the accent. So let's take that onto the tom-toms and see what we can do with that and how that sounds when we move that around the drums a little bit. Next up, we're going to add a quarter note on the bass drum. So the kick is just going to be going all the way through to look after the bottom end of the solo. Here we go. starting to sound a bit more like a solo. Brought in the cymbals as well. Okay, you imagine what that's going to be like when you speed that up. It's going to sound great. Slightly faster, just so you can kind of hear it, what it sounds like a little bit quicker. Now it's starting to get going. It's starting to kind of get that rhythm to it. It's really beginning to feel a bit like a solo. I like the sound of that. So what about if I start adding some more accents? By accenting the first 2 notes of each group of 4 semiquavers. So right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That's going to sound like this. Already it sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? I haven't even added the bass drum or any toms yet. Okay, let's bring in the kick. And now the tom-toms. A little bit faster. It's amazing what difference it makes by just adding a couple of accents. All of a sudden it just starts to take on a whole new kind of life and sound like something completely different. Okay, let's try another one. I'm going to try some left-hand accents this time. Add some bass drum. Bit faster. And now bring in the drums. Now it's a left-hand accent, so it's going to be quite tricky to get that around the kit. So you might want to think about moving mainly around this area. Unless you want to start doing some crossovers, you want to be really flash. That's definitely going to get you a good mark, but don't drop your stick in the process. Faster. That one's quite tricky actually because the left hand's a little bit limited unless you start doing some crossovers, but it's quite a hard one, that one. So I've made that a little bit difficult for myself. But do you know what? It's good because it does challenge me. And when I try to play that, I'm definitely going to slip that one in a minute when I put them all together. So we'll see if we can make it work. But at the end of the day, you know, there's 16 notes we've got to play with here. This is a bar of semiquavers. So what you really need to do in your own time, just sit there and work out some combinations. Try those accents in as many different places as you can. So there's quite a lot of combinations that you can play around with and find one that works for you, that kind of works for your ear, that you really like the sound of, and just literally just loop it round and round and round. Try different sound sources and different speeds and make it work for you. Make it work for your physique, for your setup, and of course the style of music. I'm going to try and put both those two exercises together. Now, I haven't practiced this, so if I make a total pig's ear of it, apologies in advance, YouTube. I'm sure you'll forgive me. It's only week 2, isn't it? Tough crowd. So let's try all 3 of those examples back to back. So we're just going to do one of each, see what they sound like. Should start to sound quite interesting now. Not too fast. So that's what they sound like together on the snare drum. Still quite a modest tempo. Now I'm going to try it a little bit faster, bring in some tom-toms, and let's see what that sounds like. That's actually taking quite a lot of brain power to play through that. But imagine, I mean, I've just made that up on the spot. Imagine if you practice that for sort of 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, over a course of days. That is going to really start to flow nicely. Now, there is another level that we can go here. Again, we're getting, I don't know if we're getting advanced, but we're definitely getting into intermediate territory here, because those paradiddles, I'm playing them quite quick there. It will still sound brilliant if you play those slow. So, you know, don't worry. I'm doing them a bit quicker so you can kind of hear what they sound like. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I've got them down on the snare drum. I've got them down back to back, playing 1, 2, 3. Now what I want to do is mix them up. And this is kind of like the final stage when you know you've totally cracked those paradiddles and you've got the hang of it. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to jumble them all up to suit me, where I feel it in that moment. So I'm not going to strictly play in the first one, second one, and then the third one, and then back to the beginning again. I'm just going to try and make them sound as cool as I can and as much like a drum solo as I can. One thing I would say is you definitely want to have these down on the snare drum first before you start to take these around the drum kit as a general rule of thumb, because it's just so much nicer. If you can play these at medium tempo, upper tempo on the snare, they're going to go really nicely on the drums and you won't be struggling, and you'll feel a lot more confident to kind of flex out a little bit and get some better sounding fills. To finish up, let's have a listen with a medium tempo groove, and then we'll do a few bars of solo and see how that might sound together. There's my top tip for structuring a drum solo. For those of you that are just kind of getting started on the drums, beginners and intermediate, start with the rudiment. You can't go wrong, and of course you can just build that rudiment up until you've got this colossal drum solo kind of spread all over the drum kit. I've absolutely loved doing some paradiddles today. I think it was bound to come out, someone was bound to ask fairly early on about a drum solo. It was inevitable, and there we go. Now, if you've enjoyed that today, please give this video a like, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you would like to see some more of my videos I'll be posting each week. Better Call Jules is nothing without your questions, and I need them right now. So don't be shy. However complex or silly or easy it may seem, pop it in the comments box now, and I will do my very best to have a go at answering it for you in one of the upcoming episodes. That's it for today, and I'll see you next week.